Hi guys, happy magical Monday. Hopefully my Facebook Live is going. Let's see. Yes, it is. Good. I wanted to get on here and remind you that today is the last day for my BOGO sale. So today is the final day for my BOGO sale, and so that means, if you claim any item in my sale, you then, get a total, and then you go and order from StampinUp.com using this host code here, which I have handy, using this host code. And so you're getting everything that I own that's from my stash is you're getting for free. And everything that you buy from Stampin' Up! Is obviously like brand new and fancy pants, and so that's like a bonus for you. So I actually have everything ready today. I don't really have much else to say. I'm going to be featuring the Joyful Life stamp set today, which is so cute. Oh, I gotta grab the black ink. This is the stamp set we're featuring today. It's in the new catalog. And I fell in love with this pig. So let me go ahead and put my little light up here. And we'll go ahead and feature this item. There we go. I have to move my little light. So there we go. All right, so we'll get started. Okay, so this is the stamp set we're going to be featuring. It's called The Joyful Life. And it is, it's in the new catalog. I think it's only like $18 or something like that. It's not very expensive. It has only a few. I should have grabbed the, the catalog so I could show you. It's in near the back of the catalog. Let me see. I have the catalog here handy. No, that's the annual catalog. Here it is. Okay, so this is the annual catalog, but this is it's near the back here. I love to go to the back. I love all the Christmas things that we have in the catalog, but the problem is that, if you're going to do anything for fall, you have to look like now and buy everything now, because you have to get all of your supplies. So if you want to do anything Halloween design or fall design, you want to order it now and start making all that stuff now. I know it's only August, but October isn't September is, and then October. So if you really want to make it, you get it all in August, then you make everything in September. That way it's ready in October. And the same for Thanksgiving. And so if you want any of the fall designs, you want to go near the back of the catalog. And it started off with the Halloween, and then there's this one here, which they have it as a Christmas design, but I actually am going to show you how it can be a Halloween design. I fell in love with this little pig. I don't know what. I think it's the Starbucks cup that he has in his hands. I don't know what it is, but that stinking little pig just won me over. And so my upline does these bingo games, and she did a bingo game, and it was, I won $115 in product credit. So this was the thing I spoiled myself with. I also get products to show you guys online, but I also spoiled myself with this. So that was kind of fun. So I got this stamp set, and that's what we're using today. I'm not using any secondary stamp sets because I just felt like I'm going to show you guys something on how to use it without it always being Christmas design, which is how they focus on it. We also can do it in a Thanksgiving design. And I'll show you both, and then I'm going to show you how it can also be used for Halloween. So here are my designs. Enough rambling. I know I'll talk for days if you let me. So we're going to be doing these two designs. It's going to involve coloring. It's going to involve some coloring. So remember, if you comment and share my video, I will put you in for the drawing to win the products that I make. So I decided to do a Harry Potter version of this stinking cute little pig. I mean, how cute is he? And there was even a tiny lightning scar on his forehead. I smeared it a little bit, so I'm going to use a different marker for it this time so I don't smear it. And then we're going to be using blends. Okay, so in order to do the pig, I also used it's called the Tasteful Labels. The other day I showed you guys this large label here. We used this one and how it stitches on two sides. So when I cut it, it'll cut the outside and it'll make like a window. So it'll make a window design, or it'll make a, like where I punch it out and it's a label like this. So depending on how you want to use it. And I used this one here. I had originally used this one, but it was like just a little, this giant one was just too big for this tiny pig. So it took a little bit of time, but, and I'll show you. So what I would do, anytime I stamp something I'm going to color, I usually go off and stamp it on a scrap piece of paper. This was a scrap piece of paper that I'd gotten, so I had this design here. So as you can see, it's got like a beveled edge. So when you cut with it, it'll put like a nice little beveled edge. I need to use the detailed, if I'm using the new, I'm using an old stamp cut and emboss machine. And see, this is the one I was going to use, this giant one. But I kind of felt like if I was going to use this giant one, I needed to add something else. Like I needed to add maybe some ground, or I needed to add the sentiment above him, which that would have been cute too, to add the sentiment above his head. But instead I decided just to stick with this, this design here. So this is using the Stamp Cut Emboss machine, where it will die cut out the pieces that I need. And they're double edged so that you can make a window, or you can actually cut your pieces. So what I wanted to show you was that for this Harry Potter one, I cut out this little piece, which I have here, and I'm going to stamp it. Okay. So I have all my little pieces, and as you can see, I needed to use a little different edge when I was cutting. I'm using the old cutter, which isn't as good, but it has a tiny beveled edge along the side of it. When it's cut right, it has this perfect little beveled edge. Oh, my hands look disgusting. I'm sorry, you guys. They look so dry. It's because I have this, like, anyway. So there's this tiny beveled edge along the side there. So you want to use that. Okay, you want to have that beveled edge, which it just adds a tiny design element. And I have all the little pieces here ready for my Harry Potter card. And like I was telling you, oops, I better put this away before I lose it. Like I was telling you, I stamped my pig on a scrap piece of paper because I needed to figure out what colors, what markers. I didn't want to stamp it on my nice little label and then change my mind and have it be a mess. And so I went ahead and I stamped them separately, and I tried out some different colors. In the end, I wound up using, I just recommend this tip where you stamp things out, try them out, decide what you want to do. Don't get too hung up on one particular design. So what I did, I'm going to put all my markers right here. Okay, so what I did was I used the light flirty flamingo for the skin of the pig. This is the Stampin' Right markers. This one here is the Stampin' Right marker. It's called Blushing Bride. And it looked okay, but I don't know. I didn't really love it. See, when we're using the Stampin' Right markers, you can see the coloring lines. When you're using the blends, it has alcohol in them. So it doesn't leave any lines, one, and two, you can use two colors together and make a different color, which is what I did here for the nose. I don't have Blushing Bride in a blend, and I wanted his nose to be just a little bit different than his body and his ears. So I used these two blends to color it, and you'll see. So, but again, I had to practice this. You look at all these scrap, colors I did to try and see and to play with it. And I also used ivory. Ivory and bronze are these two plain blends that we have that you use to lighten and darken other colors. And so I use the ivory for this one. So let me go ahead and stamp my little piggy, my Harry Potter pig. And we're also doing a fall design. So we're doing two designs, and you'll have to see me color, but coloring is actually quite cathartic. And so I was thinking I might make another. And the only thing you have to watch out for is his little cup. I found that when it's a brand new stamp, sometimes you won't get a full inking across the solid spots of a stamp. So that little part of his cup just kept coming out really light. And so, but after I had used the stamp a few more times, it came out nice and solid. See, it's very light on this one. You see how it's super light on that one, and it's not as flat black as the other one. And so let me go ahead and stamp him down. These are just little things I noticed because I'm a crafter. Oh, it's a little light, probably because I was talking. And so, but I wanted to get a more flat black across his cup. And so what we're going to do is we're going to just color in our pig. So I'm going to use my light Flirty Flamingo to color in his body. And I'm using the small tip only because it's a small area around his ears here. I don't want to run out. I need that to dry just a minute so that the black doesn't bleed into the alcohol. I need it to dry just 1 second. It's dry, but it's probably a little wiser to wait a second or two more. Okay. Okay. All right. And then I'm just going to color, because the alcohol will blend even the black at times if you start coloring over it too quickly and too aggressively. So I always do my outline first, just like when you're painting, you just do an outline so that you don't cross over the line. I don't know how to do this upside down, otherwise I would. And then I'll show you how I use the brush end. I love the brush end because it colors everything so quickly. But you see, if I were to use the Stampin' Write markers for coloring across his forehead, you would have seen the stripes up and down. You would have seen the stripes up and down on his forehead. But you see, it's totally blended in. You don't see any lines like you do when you're coloring with regular markers. The alcohol markers have the blends they blend so it just has a nice design to it. Okay, and so I'm gonna go ahead and check out my coffee cup. And don't forget, if you comment and share my video, I'll put you in to win for the drawing for these cards that I make. All right, so let me go ahead and color. So I switch it over to the brush side when I want to color the wider areas. It also is good if you want to literally have a brush stroke design, but I didn't want that here. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, I'm going to take the ivory and I'm going to color in his nose. Now it looks like a very, very pale vanilla, brown, tan. It's not truly ivory. It's essentially like a very light brown. But then I take my dark flirty flamingo, and when I color over ivory with the dark flirty flamingo, it changes its color just a little bit. Actually, I think I meant for that one to be light. Yeah, I did. I'll do it on the next one. It's still okay, but I just wanted it to look a little bit different than the ears. So you see, when I do it for the ears, it's very bright. But the nose, I wanted to be just a touch different. I made this mistake before, but that's okay. It's not like a big deal. And so, as you can see, it's like it's barely noticeable right now. You notice it more on my other two. So you see how this is a bright pink and this is like a darkened pink for the nose. I used the wrong color in my demonstration for you. And then for this one, the ears are just a little different color than the nose. It's just a touch. It's just a subtle difference. It was just something I preferred. So let me go ahead and color in all of my, now these are the Stampin' Write markers. And this is Daffodil Delight. I went ahead and used this. I used just the markers I had. We have Bumblebee, which would have been a more Harry Potter color. But I decided to just use, well, I didn't have Bumblebee, actually. I didn't have Bumblebee, so I had to use what I had, okay? And so I love how the markers work. And you can even use your markers to stamp. I didn't have any stamp pads for a long time, and so I would use the markers. I would color the stamp. I would color the edge of the stamp with my marker, and then I would stamp. It actually can be done. I'll just show you right now. Well, let me use a different color. Let me use green. So let me use this green one to show you. So you can color the edge of your stamp. So it was wiser for me to spend $100 on all the markers than to get all the stamp pads, because it was just more inexpensive. And so there we go. Now I stamped my leaves. No problem. And so you can use it to color your stamps if you need. And that's what I actually did for a long time when I didn't have enough stamping spots. They didn't have as many stamping spots as they do. Well, now they don't have stamping spots at all, just a few. So this is Garden Green, Daffodil Delight, and Cherry Cobbler for my little Harry Potter pig. And there's a brush tip to this as well, but because it's such fine lines, I'm going to go ahead and just color it without using the brush tip, because I don't want to go too far over the line, because the brush does get away from you if you're not careful. I didn't realize how long it takes to color my pig. I guess it doesn't take that long, it's just because I'm talking. There we go. There's my Harry Potter pig. So I just colored him in. You can barely see the beveled edge in this piece, but I promise you when you use it, you'll see. It'll be much better. So then I took, all I took was a 1/4 inch, not a 1/4 inch, this is 1/2 inch. This is a 1/2 inch piece of Bumblebee, and you'll see it's a tiny bit too long. It's very hard to get it exactly the same length. There's something about the fold up here in the card that makes it a little difficult to get it perfectly edged. It happens over and over again. It doesn't matter whether I do it or a friend does it. It'll either be too far over the edge at the top or too far over at the bottom. It's a real common thing that I've seen. That's why I usually like to layer my cards a little differently. I don't usually have it go right to the edge, but but I wanted for this design. And this paper is the paper that you get when you host a class. So if you host a class and you earn, I believe it's 150 or more, you can use those rewards to buy items. Well, one of the items that's exclusive to hosting is this huge pack of paper. Let me make sure that's straight. No, it's not. There we go. There we go. So I'm going to let that dry, and then I'm going to show you I trim the edge just a touch because it's a little over the edge. You can leave it if you want. Most people wouldn't care. I just notice every time I want to do a card where it goes right to the edge, I have a little bit of trouble getting it perfectly cut. And it doesn't matter how precise I cut it. It's always a little funny. I'm not sure why that is. But. And this paper here on the back side, I don't know if you saw, it was in navy, like a midnight man or misty moonlight, like floral design. And then this side is a black and white. And the other design that we have is a leaves. Oh, let me grab it. I have the pack right here. So this is the giant pack. This is a sampling of the giant pack that you'll get. So you see one side of it is all black and white. And I want to see you get like 48 sheets. It's huge. It's a really giant pack. And you can use it for cards, for scrapbooks, wherever. So this is the one that we're using right now. And the back side of that is, no, that's the wrong one. I keep grabbing the wrong one. Is this misty moonlight floral pattern. Okay. And so then if I flip that over, it has all these bright patterns on the other side. Granny apple green, the polished pink, the pale papayas in there. All these great other colors are in here. Pumpkin pie. I love this mermaid one. So this is an exclusive one. If you host a class, that means I do all the work. I design everything for the class, and you get the people to come. And that's essentially what we do. Is I set it all up where we can organize the orders and the whole thing, and you just show up and craft, and everyone pays their amount and we craft depending on whatever you want to do. I've had $5 classes, I've had $20 classes. You know, some of my friends have had $35, $40 classes. It all depends on the design of what you want to do. And it's kind of like having a paint night, one of those paint nights. You can do that with your friends. So I really like that. So I went ahead and, I forgot to stamp my sentiment. I wanted my Harry Potter in the corner. I could have put him up here, but for some reason I just wanted this Piggy Potter to be in the corner. I just liked him sitting down here in the corner. And I did want to add a sentiment. So I had a lot of trouble deciding what to do and how to add the sentiment. So I wound up deciding on this here. So I've got a few little scraps to try it out. So, oops, I need to move that so I have my card on it. It says a little something for a great person. And I thought, well, Harry Potter is great. And so I thought that was a fun little design, like to use it. And also, I like to give little gift cards to people. I don't drink coffee, but I love to drink hot chocolate. So I love to give Starbucks gift cards to people. And there we go. So it came out just right. Got it just enough. It's really a tiny piece of paper. It's a scrap. But I just like not wasting some of it. I throw some of it away, but all right. And so I'm just going to go ahead and put my glue on the back. And then I chose this piece here. Oh, there's my ruler. This piece is 2 inches, by 1, and this is 1 inch wide. And this here is 2 inches wide. So this here was 1/2 inch for the bumblebee and 1.5 inch for the designer series paper. This was a scrap, actually, This was a scrap that I had, and I wanted to use it up, so that's how I wound up having it. Just like this little tiny piece of white is a scrap, I just might as well use them up. There we go. And there we go. Get that just right and cut my little... I use all the edges of my dimensional puffy stuff because, you know, why not? That's at least another few design. If I use the edges, I get at least another couple cards out of it. Okay. Let me go ahead and pop that on there. There we go. There's my Harry Potter pig, or my Piggy Potter. And that's our first card. Okay, so then we're going to take our second card. Oops, I forgot to put the inside. I always forget the inside. So it can be used for fall, but Harry Potter is definitely like more of a Halloween design in my mind, like because of the witches and that kind of stuff. So I always think of Harry Potter for Halloween. Cherry Cobbler is a dark cardstock, so I always want to put white inside my dark cardstock. I tend to put white inside most of my cardstock, most of my cards, because I just want that last little touch in there. All right, so Harry Potter can go to the side. I think I could have moved him over a little bit, but he's okay there. He doesn't look bad. He's definitely in the corner, so he could have been moved over just a touch. So then we're going to take and do our fall card. And this is also that same Hostess paper. It's that same Hostess paper, but it's just the black and white leaves, and the other side of the paper, I can't remember the design on the other side, but it's some kind of colorful design. And then you have, again, more of this bumblebee, like goldenrod. And actually the color I used, instead of using pumpkin, everyone loves to use pumpkin, but I decided to use this pale papaya. I thought, why, this is a light orange peach, but I actually thought it was a very good complement to an orange fall card, and so that's how I wound up using that instead. So we'll go ahead and we'll get started with our design. Let me put I'm going to put this on first because I want to make sure that the designer series paper isn't too far down. The first time I did a card, I put it too far down. Oh, and I forgot to show you how I trimmed it. So, is it this one? Yeah. So, as you can barely see, I bet you, there's a tiny bit of goldenrod, like, off the bottom. It's actually pretty flush. I probably shouldn't mess with it because it's actually really flush for this one that I did. But this one is going over just a little bit. So, oh, it's the mermaid on the back. So I got this manicure for my niece's wedding, and it was amazing, but the nail polish started to come off, so I had to take all the nail polish off, but oh, it dried out my hands so much. Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this black and white leaf, and you could even color these leaves if you wanted. But as you can see, it's over by like a 1/16 of an inch, okay? And so, yeah, perfect. And I'm going to put my bumblebee on here too. And the bumblebee is exactly the right one, but for some reason when I was trimming that leaf one, it just was trimmed a touch too far. And it happens because, you know, you're just trimming everything by hand, so every so often it happens. That's why I don't usually like to put things right to the edge, because I like that clean look. That's just me. Get my bumblebee, and so I'm going to trim this edge up. Here's the trick to trimming off the edge. Take your scissors and you actually butt the scissors against this cardstock, and make sure they're like super sharp scissors, and then it cuts it right off. It cuts what I need, because what happens is these are actually Fiskars. These are not actually Stampin' Up! Scissors. I found them and see, I just made sure I butted the blade right up against the cardstock so that it would cut it. I'm not cutting the cardstock, but I am cutting whatever else is next to it. So that's just a little tip from me. All right, so let's do our Harry Potter. Oh, this one has a much better beveled edge, and I want to show you that beveled edge. As you can see, the edge is much better. Whoops, let me move it over. See that beveled edge? It's so cute how it has this nice little beveled edge around all of the end. I just like that design element of it. Let me stamp my little pig. And so we'll do our fall card. We're doing this card here. We're doing the fall card. We did our Harry Potter card. And so now we're doing our fall card. I just thought everyone was doing a Christmas design with this particular stamp set, and I didn't want to do that. I wanted it to be fall. And if you're going to do any fall projects, I recommend you start doing them now and ordering for them now, because, there we go, because of the fact that, because time will just fly so quickly that you'll forget your, you'll forget what day it is, what time it is. Okay, this one is just for the ears. I'm going to do the ears first. And then I'm going to set this aside, because this is the second time I've made this mistake on my samples. Okay, and that one goes aside. Okay, and then I'm using the light Flirty Flamingo on the nose before I do it again. So first you take your ivory, which it's really more like a little tan, but it's this great color to use to lighten or darken a color. It doesn't lighten a color. Well, I guess it does sort of lighten it. It lightens its intensity. And so because it's alcohol, it blends with that ivory and gives it just a slightly different color without changing it too much. And then I'm going to use so that one, the nose is blended with the ivory, and then the rest of it I'm going to color with the light Flirty Flamingo blend. And I could even change the colors of the ears if I colored them with, not with this light one, but with a different color. If I wanted to darken them or change them up, I could even change the color of those. The alcohol will mix together and you can do shadowing. I'm not 100% skilled at doing that yet, so I recommend you watch some YouTube videos on it. I've only done it a few times, and it's just something you have to practice when you're using the alcohol markers to get the right shadowing. And so in this case, I didn't want to shadow anything. I just wanted to change the color of it. You can also get good hair color using the ivory and bronze blending markers. So here's my pig. Put a little outside the line. Okay. And now I'm going to use the brush side to color in this wider area. It's just a little faster than using the small tip. Now it does bleed through. When I use the blends, it bleeds through the back. Okay, but the Stampin' Right markers do not bleed through. So that's a benefit of using the Stampin' Right markers, is that they will not bleed through. So this is Pumpkin Pie. This is a very fall card for sure because of the color scheme. He's just such a cute little pig. I don't know why this pig has won me over, but I like the hedgehog too, but there's something about this little pig. Loving him. And this is garden green because that's the color of a Starbucks cup pretty much. And like I said, I love Starbucks. I love hot chocolate at Starbucks. I don't need that one. Oh, and I used cinnamon cider. I didn't have cinnamon cider markers. I only had the blend. So I'm going to use that for my scarf, the rest of my scarf. I just have to be very careful because it isn't as fine tip as the Stampin' Write markers. The Stampin' Write markers are very fine tipped. I mean, you really are not going to go over the line in those. So you just have to be careful with the alcohol ones because they're intended on blending. You know, they're not really meant for fine work. They're meant for blending work. Hence the name. So this cinnamon cider was the perfect brown. I tried using a different brown, and I don't know, this one, I think I tried using espresso or some other browns and I couldn't get it. Oh, I forgot my little lightning star. And this Stampin' Up! Also has these markers that are archival safe. Let me practice making my, there we go. That are archival safe. I forgot to put my little lightning scar on his forehead. There we go. He needed a little lightning scar. Let me fix the one over here. For my Harry Potter. There are these pens. They're archival pens. They're meant for scrapbooking even. Okay, so as you can see, the two different Harry Potters that I did, or different pigs that I did, you see this one, I lightened it a little bit with the ivory, but Flor de Flamingo is kind of a bright color. But here, this is the same color. This color as the skin is the same color for the nose. But just adding that little bit of ivory, adding that little bit of ivory changed the color of the nose. As you can see, there's just a tiny difference between the nose. So, all right, so now we can add, oh, and I wanted to add a little something for a great person at the top of my card here. There we go. Just a little something. I thought about adding some leaves to this little fall one, but I didn't. But I did get to demo the okay, I'm getting a little distracted. I'm a little tired. Okay. I hope you guys are having a good day, whoever's watching. I'm so glad my friend Tara, she got me some stickers. She's going to mail them to me. Some Disney stickers. All right. So let me go ahead and pop that on. There we go. And let me put some dimensionals in the back of my little Piggy. But you see, look at the pumpkin pie didn't bleed through. Only the blends. The blending markers will always bleed through. But if I had flipped over the cherry cobbler, you would have seen the same. The cherry cobbler red for my Harry Potter, my Piggy Potter would not have bled through either. I think it's the glasses that make me think it's Harry Potter. There's something about the glasses. And I'm going to pop him just off to the side. But this is just stamps, ink, and paper this time. No embellishments, nothing crazy, just a little bit of paper. Sometimes that's nice, you know, not to have to always try and make it fancier, or oops, let me turn these right side up for you. Fancier or whatever. Okay, and so here's our Harry Potter card, and here's our fall card using the Joyful Life stamp set. And this comes from the Tasteful Label dies. The Tasteful Label dies. Okay. And so I love this stamp set. I'm trying to think of some other things. I think I'm going to do a witch thing with this one. Maybe with this one, actually. Like these could be poison apples or something like that. I'll have to think. I'll give it a think and make a cute little Halloween design to it. Something fun. Well, thanks for tuning in for my video. Remember, if you comment and share, I will put you in for a drawing for these cards that I made during the video and send them to you for free. I'll just send them to you just because I love my customers and appreciate your support and help. And so I don't always love coloring for a card, but man, that was super cathartic to do this little card because I could color. And so it also would be fun to make a little coloring book for someone using these particular stamps. A little like church coloring book, like a mini one you would take to church or in the car or something. So that would be fun. So, all right, well, you have a great day. Thanks so much for tuning in.